So I want you to imagine you've just joined me on the lesson tee for your very first golf lesson. And I ask you, by the end of this lesson today, what would you love to have achieved? What would be your main goal? Well, if you're anything like my students, they will say, Danny, I want to be more consistent. I want to hit my driver more consistently. I want to hit my irons more consistently. In fact, how do the best players make it look so easy? What are they doing? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you that basically the best players are controlling their trail arm, my right arm, in the golf swing. They set it up correctly at the start and they know exactly what to do to control it in the backswing and on the way down. This level of control gives them immense consistency. With amateur golfers, they never set it up correctly and they move it all over the place, and it's impossible to have a consistent swing when you do this. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can learn it too. Before I get into the video, look though, if you're new to the channel, it's one of your first lessons of mine, please consider subscribing. I release videos like this every single week to try and help you improve your game. But you never have to remember a thing. I'll always put a free download practice guide in the description box below. So consistency, how do you achieve it? Well, let's start with this. I didn't know if you realized, but you have 32 limbs from the ground all the way to the club head that you have to control to a fraction of a degree to bring that club consistently back to impact at the same point time and time again. How do you do that? Well, the best players do it by controlling this trail arm. Now, there are 3 steps to this. The first 2 steps we're going to show you can do indoors on the practice ground, and the final one we can then take to the golf course. So ultimately, understanding how this trail arm works just adds so much control to your swing. I want you to have, like the best players, a beautifully flowing golf swing with a free-flowing golf club. But I don't want this body and the limbs to be moving all over the place while you're doing it, because you won't be able to control this. So your body needs to be under control while the club head needs to be out of control. Now, here's where you start. The first thing to do is make sure that your trail arm look is just set inwards. Look, I'm turning his elbow just inwards here. I'm almost like pushing my elbows together here. This is the first thing. This is important because what this is doing is it's almost locking down this trail arm. From here, look, this trail arm, we're going to take this paddle here. I'm going to simply point it towards the ceiling. This is sitting this trail arm here. Now, when I do this, and if you do this with me, it will feel very, very tight. Some people even say, oh, that feels a bit uncomfortable there. It's a little bit tight, but what it's doing is it's control. You're locking down the limbs here so that they aren't moving all over the place. Once you're here, we're then going to move that paddle straight back down to the golf ball. So step 1, turn this inwards here. Get the paddle, point it to the ceiling. So my palm, look, is pointing to the ceiling. This is like a waiter's tray almost holding above your head here. Then what you can do, and which is why I use the paddle, is you can actually start to hit some small shots with this. So you get yourself set here, and again, look, if this wasn't there, I could move it around. This is all over the place now. I could pull this inside here. I've got no control. I can't let this club swing freely if I haven't got control over it. Whereas when I do this, look, and I got my paddle in place here, and I simply turn to the sky, I'm just locked. It's just unbelievably under control. I can then swing this as hard as I like, basically, through the shot, and this club head is really under control. So let's hit a really easy shot now, just doing this. So I'll get myself set here, put the paddle just on the center of the shaft here. Nice and easy. I'm not going to hit any big ones. I just simply swing to the top. And as I'm doing this, I'm imagining, look, those elbows, look, aren't popping out here. They're staying nice and close together, under control, and away we go. Beautiful. Nice and simple. Should be nice and straight. There we go, look. So nice and straight, piece of cake, right? So it's developing, first of all, set the elbow, form the tray, keep it there, and just keep that pressure on the club all the way through here. It's just a brilliant, brilliant exercise to start to get the sensation of locking this right arm down here, this trail arm, into a place that's going to give you control. So it's a really, really simple thing. I'll put a link in the description down below. It's just a swimming paddle basically, but I'll put a link in the description box below. Let's move on to drill number 2. Now before I move on to drill number 2, which is the fitness band here, I want to just kind of iterate here that when I'm doing this, I don't want you to be wooden statues. What we're trying to do is move the body in a beautifully controlled way to allow you to swing the club as freely as you like. The more freedom you have with the body, the less control you have with the golf club. But if we can help you gain some feeling of control with the body, you can let that golf club flow as freely as you like, which just brings us on to the fitness band here. So all I'm doing here is a nice stretchy fitness band. And what it's going to help you feel is, as I take the club back here, it's going to stop what I see a lot of people doing, which is letting his elbow fly all over the place here, or lifting the arms up and away from the body here. But at the same time, it's not getting them stuck in like this. So you're Mr. Wooden. What you're doing is you can still swing freely, but it's not letting this elbow fly away. Makes sense? So it's an absolutely brilliant exercise. So all I'm doing here is I make a swing here. I'm swinging, and you'll notice this trail arm here, look, very similar to the paddle look, is sitting down. It's not allowed to fly, it's sitting down here. As I come through, same principle. What do you notice about my lead elbow? It's sitting down, it's not up here, it's not flying away. So it's just a brilliant way of educating a controlled motion, so that it allows you basically to swing as freely as you like. Let's have a look at this in action. Felt absolutely beautiful. Just a little tap down there. And hey presto, look how straight that is. Rock it straight. Again, I can swing as freely as I like if I keep my body under an element of control, okay? So, let's imagine you don't have an armband. What do you do? Well, that moves us to drill number 3, which is one of my favorites for the golf course. And it kind of, in a sense, encompasses the first two. The first two will really educate you in a really exaggerated way. This final one is brilliant for taking to the golf course. And I mentioned it on a couple of my videos recently. Given to me by Tommy Fleetwood's coach, Graham Walker. It's absolutely sensational. What you do is this. Put the club out in front of you here, so it's just left of my center here. And then what we're going to do is, keeping the butt really constant, all you're going to do is hinge this trail wrist so the club just pops over at my trail shoulder. Now, most people, when I give this for the first time, they do it wrong. They do this. They go, oh, Danny, this is picture over here. And they lift this up here. That's not, because look, my arms are still loose there. If you could do this with me, you'll really feel this. If you hinge this just over your trail shoulder, but keep the butt the same, what happens is the trail hinges, that forces the elbow to do this, and then you already look setting this beautiful controlled motion, very similar to the paddle we've just done. Yeah? Look at this, one, and it's setting there. That's the controlled motion of the backswing. But look at this, on the way through, we're now going to do the same. We're going to hinge the club now, keeping the butt the same look, over the lead shoulder. What does this do? Well, exactly the same thing. This now is sitting the elbow down. What have we just done with the bands? Sitting the elbows down, it's wrapping around. So now what we've got, look, is something that we could do before each shot. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now I've got a flowing swing, look. Notice it, look, holding the weightless tray, arms nice and wrapped in here, coming down, look, swinging the club freely, releasing the club beautifully through. Now I'm swinging the arms beautifully freely, while simultaneously creating a beautifully controlled body motion. So we're blending the whole thing together, where we have a lovely free-flowing motion of the golf club, controlled by eliminating the degrees of freedom in our body here, so that we can have beautifully straight shots that basically work not just for your irons, but for your driver too. So let's have a look at this in action. Let's work on the drill here. So I get myself set. I do my little movement. 1, 2, maybe a rhythm. 1, 2. Once I've got a rhythm of this, I simply get to the golf ball and give it a smack. And look at that. Nice and straight, nice and simple. Start to create this beautifully flowing free club head, but control it by eliminating the degrees of freedom that you have in those limbs. When you do that, you will start to become much, much more consistent. Now look, if you'd love to know, really, really important, okay, where all this stuff comes from, the band and the paddle, just look in the description box below. The other thing what would go really well with this video here is this one right here. It's very, very important you have a great grip to support this. If I'm swinging freely and the club's coming in closed or open, it's really important that your hands are on the golf club correctly. Check this video out right here. But I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Maybe share it with one of your friends who's struggling with consistency. But until next week, have a wonderful golfing week.